The Codal Digital Notary is used in financial services to prove accuracy and validity of data. Instant Actions was developed as a proof of concept for Swift to show how the industry can rely on corporate action announcements, and has subsequently developed into a registry of company information. Codal was originally developed to address the problems of counterfeiting by creating unique identifiers and applying these to branded goods. It creates digital fingerprints of data and stores them in its 24/7 searchable registry so that information can be verified by anyone, however many hands it passes through. Codal was built with the regulator in mind and makes data accountable by storing comprehensive audit trails of all data and events, using its own technology to create hierarchy Codal marks published in the Financial Times. These act as a strong witness to Codal activity and provide legal admissibility for electronic transactions. This manual demonstration showing how to Codal mark data would be automated for STP and shows how information can be Codal marked and verified by counterparties. First, I navigate to the file we want to register and protect, which here is located on a network. When I double-click on the file, it uses an algorithm, in this case SHA-256, to create a hash of data and registers this with Codal's searchable registry, at which point it is called a Codal mark. I'm now acting as if I'm the recipient of a Codal mark file, using Codal's API to carry out a verification. Calling the Codal service recreates the hash here and returns this together with other metadata created at the time of registration. Here you can see the Codal mark, an incremental reference that could be used as an additional unique identifier, perhaps for internal purposes, the date and time that the file was registered, the identity of the author, and their email address, which would most likely be the enterprise. We can also check whether the item is still valid, and if I'm the author, I can reset this validity, for example if the file has been superseded or withdrawn. If necessary, the author can also point the recipient to updated information. This is particularly important for corporate actions announcements, where there may be multiple follow-on announcements, and where asset services need to make sure they are relying on the most recent information. The vast majority of error and risk comes from missing these updates, and causes regular losses of 8-figure sums. For liability purposes, and as an aid to dispute resolution, Codal keeps an audit trail of all registration and verification events, so that counterparties can reduce mistake and resolve disputes more easily. Here we have set the history file and file save locations to the network, but this could be duplicated to the local environment. This slide shows the proof of concept carried out for Swift. It shows how it's possible to Codal mark and verify datasets that have been mapped from announcements in ISO or XBRL formats for better automation. So here is unstructured data, an announcement from Transcontinental. Data has been extracted and mapped to ISO 15022. I can now drag the data into the Instant Actions applet, which maps and Codal marks the data. Here you can see the Codal mark, and we can add additional information if we need to. So it's now been successfully registered. And as before, I'm now going to act as the receiving party, checking and verifying the information, which I've just done, and you can see we've created the unique event identifier as well. So now if I change some of the information, you can see that it no longer verifies. Here I'm changing the date from the 27th to the 28th. It doesn't verify, but we could create business intelligence and rules that would allow users of the Instant Actions repository to repair data that doesn't verify, perhaps if it's been received from an indirect source. So we've repaired the data, and you can now see that it verifies. In this example, corporate actions information has been manually extracted from company announcements and formatted to ISO 15022 messages. And as we know, this requires companies to perpetually scrub data, causing risk and cost. One of the key outcomes of the Swift proof of concept was a requirement for a registry that sources announcements direct from the issuer, which we'll see next. This slide shows how Instant Actions will, over time, create a community of users, all using a central repository to verify data. Announcements are provided by issuers direct, either because they choose to use IA's service because it gives them better communications with their shareholders, or because this is provided as an augmented valuable service by their agent, such as a stock exchange or registrar. Source-accurate data is provided to the markets direct and in collaboration with data vendors, who will use it to provide a premium service to their customers. 2 data vendors have already indicated a willingness to participate. The Codal Digital Notary is provided separately as a standalone API, which can be used by banks to verify data, even if it doesn't come direct from Instant Actions or from a participating data vendor. The point is that data can be verified wherever it comes from, provided it is Codal marked at source. This test site has gathered over 1 million announcements from 5 stock exchanges to show how issuers could reach a global audience more easily than they can now. Here you can see information published in Singapore, where it is a requirement to announce through the local exchange first. In the EU, issuers must do this through a regulated primary information provider, such as a press agency, who also files the information with the member country's national storage mechanism. IA augments either publication method by providing a global registry for information accuracy that can be referenced and verified in real time. This eliminates the need for data scrubbing and reduces risk. IA is working with Singapore, the first exchange to collect structured data direct from issuers in standard SWIFT message format. The message has been Codal marked and shows how valuable it would be for exchanges and other agents acting for issuers to announce simultaneously through IA, because it allows those servicing assets for international shareholders to automate data verification. It ensures they have the full picture in real time, reduces risk, and allows them to make elections nearer to the corporate action deadline. IA is developing its own set of 70 corporate action templates, which gather reference data, corporate actions data, and market capitalization information. This is an example of one of the 70 corporate action templates under development. You can see that these templates gather reference data in the green section at the top and market capitalization information at the bottom in grey, both of which can be provided as additional Codal marked source-accurate information either direct or through the data vendors. Announcement types will also be extended to derivatives and debt. Discussions with company secretaries show a low level of knowledge of the problems experienced by asset servicing companies and intermediaries relying on their company information. They are interested because IA gives them better access to capital by making a corporate action more successful. Company secretaries and general counsel are the appointed legal officers of a company, and they have a duty to implement the best possible practice and to ensure that they comply with transparency regulations and shareholder rights directives. Using IA and Codal makes it possible for companies to withdraw or revoke information and propagate this change throughout the markets in real time, giving peace of mind. A recent announcement from Supergroup Holdings plc, which stated a profit figure as being negative by mistake, caused the share price to plunge from £15 per share to £3 per share, and this did not recover for 6 months. In future, IA intends to provide additional services for listed companies to create better relationships with their shareholders and investors by offering a direct, clean channel of information.